Structural loads are important because if you're putting a heavy system on top of the roof, you need to make sure that the roof can support the weight. So, how does an engineer approach that? Well, the weight of the structural loads are all of the weight of the building and all other material and equipment that are permanently attached to that building, including heating and air conditioning systems, and the solar array would be added to the structural load of the building as well. Adjustments are made in the distribution of dead loads on a building because of the material the building is holding, including the utility lines. The engineer has the option to calculate all these loads exactly through point load analysis. But just like an electrician designs per National Electric Code, a structural engineer is given more simple guidance to say, well, just assume that the structural load is the load of the building plus an additional 10 pounds a square foot for all the stuff inside. And so commonly they'll say, well, what's the structural load that can be added to a building? And the engineer will say, well, we have a 10 pound a square foot dead load tolerance. And then the question comes back to say, well, how much of that 10 pound a square foot tolerance are we actually using before we know if we can add an additional 3 pounds of dead load on top of the roof? So there might be a 10 pound a square foot dead load assumption factor built into the building that is on top of the snow load and on top of the building load. And then the question is, well, how much is it using? If they've already added a very heavy fire protection system to that, systems that weren't part of the original building, you might already be using all the dead load capacity that the building is rated for.